Well, welcome to Build an Online Writing Empire in 30 Days or Less, Creating Business on Your Own Terms, the right WRITE way. And I am Majesty Ali Nicole Wow. And boy, I am so excited to bring this little micro training to you because it's going to help those of you who have really been trying to break into the writing industry and really trying to get your message out in multiple ways. This is going to help you tremendously. And so, again, I'm excited to share with you about this. As someone who has published over 300 works on Amazon and hosts over 500 blogs, I can tell you I know a thing or two about really stepping up and building an empire and not just being just a writer, but actually being a writing-preneur. And so I want to actually start by making some distinctions as it relates to the difference in just being a writer and being a writing-preneur. So most think that when they are writing books or they're blogging, they're being freelancers or however, demonstrating their unique gifts and talents. And they say, I'm in business, for doing this. And they really think that they are. But the thing about it is when you are a writing-preneur, it is very intentional that it is a writing business versus when you are just a writer or an author, you just really have a title, you have a label, so to speak. But it doesn't mean that you're actually profitable. So something I found throughout the years is that when I embody the writing-preneurship, it is more high end and it's more focused in terms of actually being in business than just being, oh, I'm an author or I'm a writer. Of course, you are those things, but vibrationally, you want to be intentional about that. So I'm really going to be addressing writerpreneurship, during this short time. Now, everyone's at different levels, and I realize that. So I'm really going to be just going over kind of just some basics and fundamentals as it relates to getting started and building a writing empire, whether you are already published or you aren't. So I'm going to cover kind of a wide range, all right? So if you aren't a published author or you don't have a blog, of course, you're going to need to have those components and aspects as it relates to being able to be established and also provide credibility in terms of who you are and being a writerpreneur, authorpreneur, publishing, preneur, and being able to actually have an empire. You have to have some level of products and not just what you're providing consistently in terms of online with value, but that's important. Okay, so that's important. So I want to talk right away about publishing and self-publishing with a platform called Kindle Direct Publishing, which it is a print-on-demand company of Amazon. Right, that's where I've done my publishing throughout the years through that platform, and it's free to use the platform. So you don't even need a budget to get started. You don't even have to purchase an ISBN because they have free ISBN numbers and also free book cover templates. Of course, if you decide that you want to have a graphic designer to design your cover, or maybe you can do it yourself, then absolutely you can be able to upload that. But the thing about it, I'm sharing basics because I want you to just get started. You can definitely use traditional publishing if you desire at another point. I highly recommend, though, using the self-publishing format and being able to publish low to medium content types of publications. And those can be journals, they can be how-to books, tip books, they could be playbooks, manuals, little workbooks or so. So you want to be able to have some publications. Now, why is this important for a writer, even if you aren't, let's say, an author, so to speak? Why is it important for a writer to have a publication? There is something about being a published author that people seem to value even over degrees and certifications. So even if you don't call yourself an author, like I said, you still want to be able to have some type of publication. So if you're a blogger, if you're a freelancer, you can provide a publication as it relates to that particular focus. But when you're building a writing empire, you actually do need to have multi-levels of writing and have multi-levels of paid for writing initiatives. So actually having a couple of publications under your belt, even in the short format, would be great. All right. So you definitely need that for sure. And so I also want to talk about getting set up on different platforms that will allow you to be able to demonstrate your writing aspects and being able to showcase you as a brand. So using platforms to get started like Tumblr.com and also Blogspot.com. And these platforms are really, really great because they have multiple blogs that you can get under one account. So you can set up one account and have multiple blogs under that account. And that will allow you to be able to actually categorize and showcase different levels of your writing opportunities. So I'm going to use an example like for myself, because I'm a multi-niche writer and a cross-pollination publisher. And that's how I have over 300 works on Amazon, because I write for different industries. And so I have different levels of categorization as it relates to those industry focuses. So when I use platforms like Tumblr and Blogspot, it gives me the opportunity to do, yes, that niche focus in that categorization. All right. So I can have a blog that is for a specific industry, or also another one for a specific industry focus. All right. So let's take business, for instance. So being able to write for business, that's kind of a broad spectrum, right? But there's different business focuses. So whether it's branding, whether it's marketing, social media, and I cover all of that, I can have a blog that is for all of it. And then I can have different segments for people who only need the marketing aspect. And so I'm only writing for the marketing aspect. So if I'm writing for branding, then I can just have a blog that also focuses on branding. Now, with having these different segments, you don't have to necessarily have be a consistent blogger. You can just provide a 3 to 5 part blog series on these different platforms and let that be your evergreen marketing, so to speak. So that's just a way that you can set up if you are interested in doing different industry focuses or the niche within the niche. That's a good way to get set up. And I'm going to share with you how you bring all of this together and be able to really fully launch in 30 days or less. But right now, I'm just kind of setting up some fundamentals, as you can tell. I'm excited, about this. So I also want to talk about a platform called Medium, and most of you may already be on that platform, but it is a really good platform to be able to get yourself established in terms of being a writer and showcasing and demonstrating what you do, and also too allowing it to be a lead in and segue to different opportunities. So if you are a coach, you're a speaker, whatever your business is, you can be able to segue that, use the writing to segue into that. And something else I want to bring up is that to be a writing-preneur, so to speak, and set that business up online, some people are thinking, well, I'm not a writer, so I don't really need to be marketing myself as a writer. Everybody pretty much is a writer, whether they think they are or not, because if you're showing up on social media and you're writing posts and you're doing that consistently, believe it or not, that is a part of writing-preneurship. And you can take the content that you create in post and be able to repurpose that for different products, for different publications, all right? And also expand them for blogging, so to speak. And I've done all of that. So this is really important as it relates to empire building and having different levels of products and opportunities, different levels of publications, but also the blogging aspect. Now, I mentioned earlier about having paid initiatives, and even as it relates to blogging, having paid blogs. So you can definitely set up a blog that is fee-based. And if you have your standard blog that you already have with a domain, and it is your website, so to speak, then you can definitely incorporate a paid version. All right. So this is important in terms of being able to build up the different levels of impact and income so that you can be able to build an empire, all right, and not just a traditional business, so to speak, all right. So I've talked about using Kindle Direct Publishing and also setting up on platforms like Tumblr and Blogspot. You can use those mainly for marketing if you don't have a main blog, so to speak. And also, too, I talked about using your main blog and also getting set up on Medium. And so these are really important platforms to be able to use in terms of having a writing empire. Now, before I talk a little bit more about that, there is another platform that I want to introduce right now. If you're not familiar with a platform called lumen5.com, it is a software platform, and you can actually repurpose your writings into making them into video. So it's a part of video marketing. So they allow you to have up to 5 minutes for making the videos, but they recommend that you only do like 2 to 3 minutes, and those work, the best. And so taking different, parts of social media posts or blog posts or articles and being able to put different excerpts of those in there and then have people to, it directs them to read more below or so. It's just great to be able to use that for a more professional feel, for sure. And they also have the talking head aspect too. So you can definitely use and leverage that. So being able to use these platforms to start, getting yourself set up is very important. So what I want to talk about now is you actually now empiretizing this experience and being able to create kind of this 30-day focus in terms of getting everything together to actually be considered a writing empire, so to speak. And some of you, if you're not coaching in this area and you're a writer, that's another good aspect to be able to incorporate. And I have a training around that particular initiative too, but I'll talk just a little bit about it now. So even if you're just getting started with this initiative, you don't have to feel like you're an expert and authority even to teach others. You can be the 1 or 2 steps ahead expert and create products based around that, right? And so just like what I mentioned in terms of creating works with Kindle Direct Publishing, so you can actually create some type of basic introduction to a specific topic or to writing and be able to create those types of publications. Great works to create are 3 to 5 things that a person should know, or 3 to 5 success tips. So those are really great entry level with ease types of products to create, and also they're digestible products for your audience, right? And it's really important to have, I would say, at least 5 to 10 publications. But I know some people getting started are like, what? Oh, I'm just getting started. But that's something to work to, so that you work towards, so that you can really have an empire. Now, since I brought that up, let me simplify this process, all right? So, early on, I talked about being able to create low to medium types of content publications. So I talked about you can create a journal, it could be a composition, a planner, a how-to book. You can actually take one idea and make multiple things, multiple publications and works from one idea. So you can create the journal version of the idea, and it can be a Q&A or affirmation around a specific focus that you write about. And then you can also create the tips book and have different tips. And even if it could be much like a tips journal in a sense, all right? And where you would have an affirmation, maybe you have a tip, instead. So that's a different version of kind of the same publication, so to speak. And then if you want to create a workbook version or do the 3 to 5 things that someone should know about this particular topic, then that's a way to have multiple different formats, because different audiences have different ways that they connect in terms of how they digest content and learn. So you can actually create these different variations of the same product. But it is good when you can also offer a variety. So maybe there's a subtopic of that. And see, once you have these different publications, and you've created those, you've published those, then it's going to give you more to blog about and to talk about. And there's other aspects outside of just the writing that you have to take into consideration too, but that's a whole nother training. Now, so let's talk about being able to bring this into a 30-day or less focus, right? Now, I'm big on doing get it done intensives and doing writing intensives. So you can create an intensive for yourself to first get set up. So let's say that you take a weekend, one weekend, and it is all about setup. So you're going to set up your Kindle Direct Publishing account. You're going to set up your Tumblrs and or your Blogspot account, or you're going to set up a new blog or revamp the current blog that you have. And then, yeah, make everything about setup. Get set up on Medium or get restarted on Medium or whatever other platforms that you feel guided, because it is about divine guidance as well. All right. I'm just giving you just some basics just to get started. So if you take a weekend just to do your setup, then that right there is building towards this 30-day or less initiative, all right? Then you can take another weekend or maybe a week where now you're actually starting to put content on, let's say, the blogs. And so you're doing a 3 to 5 part blog series and you're putting that up and also being able to introduce what your services are. So you could do that as well. Then you could also take another weekend where you are now publishing your works. And actually, you could actually start with doing that before even starting to get this set up for the other initiatives after you get set up with KDP, because you want to have products, okay? You definitely want to have products and be introducing your services. So being able to work on the profitability and what is going to be the offerings and opportunities. So there is no order in terms of how you need to do this. It's just creating your own 30-day or less initiatives, because most of you will find that you get a lot of this stuff done right away. And so you can also use a weekend to write a publication or to create multiple versions, right? So if you are using a weekend, then, and you're doing short, low to medium, what I call short form content publications, then you can easily come up with 5 to 10 affirmations and then be able to put those into a journal and be able to load that up on Kindle Direct Publishing. And then that's a publication that's in review. Then you can come back and then provide tips around that specific focus. So you can easily create 2 to 3 short form content publications in a weekend. And then you've got that kind of in the can, so to speak. And then that's a product, all right, or products, a product tier. And then also being able to look at what are your writing services, okay? What do you want to provide in terms of who you want to focus on? So if you want to do coaching, you want to do speaking, or maybe you just want to create products. So a good platform to use for product creation or product facilitation is Gumroad, gumroad.com, and it's free to use that particular platform as well, right? And you can easily create products by using Zoom and using your Zoom recordings and then uploading them to Gumroad. And once you upload to Gumroad, your digital product is launched. And actually that platform has so much expansiveness that you can build a whole empire, and I have other trainings around that too. You can build a whole empire just using Gumroad alone. They have newsletters, they have membership, community building, they have podcasting, and again, digital products. So there's so much that you can do just with that to build your online business. So being able to just get set up with these particular tools, and then looking at how you can bring a 30-day or less focus and start putting yourself out there and use podcasting, use YouTube, use different varieties of methods and mediums to get yourself out there to let people know. But I want to go back to the platform Medium and you starting to get established on that platform. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to be doing this all the time, because the subtopic of this platform is about you really creating your business on your own terms the right way, right? The right WRITE way. And you know yourself, you know your life, and you have to work with what's going to be most aligned. Now, just like how I'm providing tips and considerations for you, to leverage and use, but you have to now customize how you want your online writing empire to be. Are you seasonal with what you're doing? Or how often are you planning to show up on social media? Maybe it's only a few times a week or a few times a month, but you can use platforms that you can reschedule and syndicate your content. The platforms that I've named, like Tumblr and Blogspot and even Medium, allow you to do that. So you can also take it a weekend or a week where you're writing and pre-writing out your content, and then you're pre-scheduling that to post when you schedule it to post. So this is just really basics to getting started in building your online writing empire. Before closing out, something else I want to mention is that using a Facebook page is also a great way for you to bring exposure to your writing empire. And also it's another great platform to do syndication in terms of pre-scheduling your content from some of your other blogs and also from Medium. And so when you set up this platform, it's not so much of you build it and people will come, but you do have to build it. So give yourself, the time to accelerate by creating a 30-day or less process. And that's what you're going to be intentional about, is in 30 days or less, here is what my online writing empire, my writing-preneurial empire looks like. And here are the number of publications that I plan to jumpstart with, right? Or products I plan to jumpstart with. Here's the initial service that I plan to jumpstart with, all right? So once you bring that into a focus, yes, 30 days or less, you are set to go. Some of you, as I mentioned, will do it in a week. Some will have it in a week, some maybe in 2 weeks or so, but just be intentional to get everything set up. And a powerful question that you can ask yourself in terms of setting up is, what will be most aligned for me during this time? What does my 30-day or less writing empire initiative look like? Because everything launches in phases, so you want to be able to provide that for yourself in terms of being intentional of creating this space, for that. So I have a lot more that I could teach on this, but this is just a micro training. So I wanted to be, intentional about providing information for you to get started. And you do need to think with the empire state of mind, all right? That you can really launch something far beyond your imagination, far beyond your wildest dreams, but you have to start to move the energy by putting things in place and then being intentional to take the right inspired actions towards your success. So again, this is about creating this experience on your own terms, the right WRITE way. And I hope that this has been helpful for you. You can look in the description where there's other trainings and opportunities also to work with me as it relates to this particular initiative. But I know you have what it takes to start building your online writing empire, and you can do it in a very accelerated way. And I am wishing you the absolute best, and take care and stay blessed.